But at the end of it, I don't want to go because these things are all, the tapes are available, the records are there. In fact, only about 2 weeks ago, I saw a set of the records again. The transcripts are available. But we talked about the Nigerian situation.
Okay, in case you don't know the voice you are hearing, let me remind you that this is the voice of Mazi Chukwuemeka Dim Odumegwu Ojukwu, the Biafran warlord, the guy who led Biafra to face a civil war, despite the fact they declared no victor, no vanquished. But the content of this message is what I'm about to tell you. According to the poster of this message, which is on Today Media, he says, and I quote, Gowon, shocking confession to the world. I was afraid of Biafra crude oil, not Aburi agreement. That is 1 quarter. But another quarter here again, let me go to Nigerian newspaper because I will always make reference to them because either they collect brown envelope or what. But as long as they posted the message that concerns Biafra, I must surely make reference. So, according to homepage, the Guardian newspaper, he said, and I quote, Gowon is begging the Nigerian government, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is begging Sultan of Sokoto, is also begging Netanyahu and what they call him, Trump, say, I beg, John Torio alone, according to Guardian newspaper, say, may they allow Igbos to go. You know why? Because now the oil that make him not to agree to the Aburi Accord is now beginning to dry. Or maybe, or rather, he want to amend his ways because death have refused to come. But anyway, that's by the way. Another quarter, which is the leadership newspapers, says, and I quote, that this Gowon made an open confession to these people that they should not allow Igbos to go. 1 quarter, the other newspaper said, allow. He's begging these people to please divide Nigeria because his people is dying too much, so that his own people will join the Biafran side. That is what Gowon is fighting now. In case you don't know, let me remind you. Because you know that the side where he belongs in that plateau are Christian, and that part belongs to Biafra. Or rather, that part desires to join Biafra. Let me put it that way. Not tomorrow now, somebody will say, we too like to occupy people's lands. But let me not waste much of your time. We have a Tribune online here. Tribune also said the same thing with the Guardian newspapers, that Gowon now is begging the leadership of Trump, Netanyahu, and Sultan of Sokoto. According to Tribune, they don't mention Tinubu. So that means Sultan of Sokoto is the supreme leader of Nigeria. So he begged the 3 guys, Sultan, Netanyahu, and Trump, to say, I beg John Tory along, say, may they allow Igbos to go. So I think maybe he's just trying to amend his ways because death refused to come. But let us listen to the report before us, and then we'll come back here for more discussion. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe.
And certainly, at the end, everybody says, oh, you told them this, you did that. The fact was that our case was so clear that I actually believe at the end of Aburi that the problem was not Gowon, but probably some ambassadors in Lagos who were pressing for something else. Because we understood each other. We agreed on every single point. The drafting was, in fact, my chief secretary with 2 other chief secretaries from the other side. They said, no. And drafted and agreed. We looked at it, we agreed. General Lankra read over the whole report again to us at the end. Asked us if we wanted to amend anything. No. At the end of all that, the position was so good that actually Ankara drove Jack, Gowon, and myself to the airport. Jack was sitting on his left, I was sitting on his right. He was in the middle. And in the course of that journey, at a point, General Ankara shook his head and said, oh, thank you. Thank you. If only we can go on like this, everything would be all right.
No, domination politically. The North feared the domination of the South.
Let me also tell you, the voice you are hearing is the voice of Jack Yakubu Gowon. I made a mention of Jack having a blood relationship with the Igbos. Not true. DNA have confirmed it. Okay, as you can see, you can as well agree with me that the problems Igbos are having today is Igbo by their own self. Nobody is doing Igbos. If this guy have a blood relationship and he dealt with the Igbos, look at Asare Dokobo, also have a blood relationship with the Igbos. He's spying Igbos in Owerri, in Akokwa, in Olo, and Anambra State, including Ebonyi State. You can imagine. Look at what Ijele is doing. Ijele is leading a squad going to Osu to pie the Igbo youths. So Igbos have been the problem of Igbos long time immemorial. Ojukwu was betrayed, or rather a coup was planned against Ojukwu by his own Igbo brothers who want to hand him over even when the war is going on. They want to hand him, they want to sabotage him and hand him over to the enemies. Maybe by now, we don't be hearing Chukwuemeka Ojukwu as a warlord. Maybe you will be hearing about him as a fugitive. Because when they buy him, they will give him a bad bad name that will make the future generation to hate him at all. I mean, to hate him with passion. Let us continue listening to this go on, and then you know what follows.
Educationally, commercially, etc. And I think it is the major fear of political domination was really what brought about the coup of 1966, which seemed to be one-sided. It's mainly the northern leadership, both in the political as well as military, that were eliminated, and that engendered the crisis. Now, it was because Ojukwu or the East felt that after what happened in January and July, and a lot of the killings in August, September, October, and subsequently, that the Igbos had to run to their own particular area. And I know that I had to even make sure that the soldiers separated, for a while. Otherwise, you never know what will happen. The animosity if they are within the same barracks. So I had to allow them to go back to their domain. Now, it was, when...
How do you feel today? Today, you and T.Y. Danjuma of Taraba State are now calling for a separate Middle Belt zone. We are watching all of you. You are clamoring now for a separate Middle Belt zone. Something we have seen over 60 years ago. And we are fighting for it, so everybody will be free.
Some people will say now, where did they call for the separation of Igbo from Nigeria? According to this, our brother now, anyway, the message will be played later. They are calling for separation of Middle Beltans. And the Middle Beltans area they are calling for the separation, or a different part, falls on the Biafran side. It falls within the 40 states of Biafra. So automatically, indirectly, they are calling for Biafra to get their freedom. Because he mentioned the names of these two powerful guys and one mini god in Sokoto. He called them to help so that every region should go. That's exactly what Ojukwu told him. That's exactly what he signed in Aburi. And then he ended up making mess of it. Now at old age. Anyway, let us continue listening.
And then be independent. A totally decentralized system where everybody will be free to live as human beings, not like animals. Today you are clamoring for it. Our market, how far? You can now see that karma is a ditch. You can now see that, understand? And for all of you supporting evil, all the evil you are supporting, you are only nurturing what is going to happen for you, to all of you in the future. That is the consequences of it. Learn from what is happening today. Learn from it now. It is very unfortunate. It is happening in Nigeria.
This I think I react to what this man said. In the face of what is happening, considering the fact that the major stakeholder from the Middle Belt prosecuted that war, now we are seeing what is happening in the Middle Belt. They seem to be silent. I think he was directly pointing out Gowon, Yakubu Gowon, former military head of state, and also, to an extent, questioning, the silent debate that is going on within Nigeria and outside Nigeria, centered on what transpired in 1967. What led Nigeria to Aburi, and up to this moment, that issue has not actually, been resolved. I used to say it very clearly that there's need for a revisit of Aburi Accord if Nigeria actually need to move very forward. So the debated silence or the passive silence, which is very suspicious, on the side of Gowon, Yakubu Gowon, and Danjuma, who spearheaded, that unfortunate war. According to the man there, he claimed almost 6 million lives of Igbo people, and up to today, Nigeria is still dying as a result of unity. While the issue is very clear, yes, Gowon has been very silent. Danjuma has been very silent. The fear of confronting their past by being the reason why, or triggering a kind of questions of you would have listened to what Ojukwu was saying at that time, or whether you would have foresee the way Ojukwu foresaw what was coming to Nigeria at that time, because the people they are trying secretly now to see how they are going to save Fulani from Middle Belt, but it's no longer are going to work because I can see what the Fulani politicians are doing currently now. There's no going back. They said they continue to depopulate the people until Islam and Sharia finally take over Nigeria. Then now at this point now, what would actually be going on? That's the speculation the Hausa community are trying to ask Gowon currently now. The Hausa youth, the Hausa leaders themselves are trying to put that question directly to Gowon and Danjuma. Who claimed to have fought for the unity of their people to be killed. And that is what is happening currently now. This awakening, bring us back to the reality on ground of the position Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has taken, and of course, the glamour for Biafra recognition as a nation.
Okay, let us equally look at in the time of Muhammadu Buhari, how Danjuma called on the people to start defending themselves. It is worse that the military were not doing enough to protect the people. Somebody says he was not serious with that statement after all. He didn't follow it up with action, judging by who he is as a former general.
Yes, because all of them are falling into guilt now. All of them are beaten by their conscience. All of them are weakened by the result of trying to match their intellectual capacity with that of Ojukwu at that time, and what triggered the glamour for separation of the Biafrans from Nigeria. I think they are ashamed of what they cost their people now, because their people now are beginning to realize that after all, Ojukwu was very correct. Imagine a situation where Nigeria would have gone their separate ways at that point. Imagine what, or maybe there wouldn't be any reason for this killing. And if there is, on the side of, because as at that time, definitely, Middle Belt will join, some part of Middle Belt will be part of the North, so be it, but I can tell you that there would have been an option for the Middle Belt and for Christians in the North, and if they feel that being in a Sharia hostile environment, or nation or country is detrimental to their destiny, they would have opted for a safer place, to now relocate, but you can see now virtually all the states in the country now have been under serious attack. Even the one we are hearing very clearly in Enugu State, we are seeing a lot of them a few days ago. Some of them were captured in Abia State. So they are virtually everywhere. No state in this country that is actually safe. But what the Middle Belters are saying at this point in time, that they can no longer, tolerate the silence of Yakubu Gowon and T.Y. Danjuma.
Because you don't mention Gowon, I was to ask this question, because people are saying that Gowon should not be blamed for anything that came out of Akuri. After all, it was reported that he was sleeping during that deliberation. That the man that slept in the deliberation should not have fought in the decision he took thereafter.
Yes, I was surprised of mainly. You said during the negotiation in Akuri, that you slept off. You didn't know when those documents were actually signed. But you signed, you agreed on that accord in Aburi, Ghana. You agreed, but later you decided to change the narrative and change your mind completely. At that point also, at the position of Britain at that time, and what Britain actually did. Because people are saying that, why is it that Gowon has not raised his voice against the people he defended? They have now gone to killing his own people, even right here in his hometown. I think he has struggled several times to tender that certain apology that he neglected ever fighting for the Fulani people. But today, it has taken another dimension completely, that Middle Belt, who are trying to move away from the corner, has already been tied by whatever that comes out of that unity as at that time, because they have been suppressed under the Northern law, and they can not be able to move out. Yes, they see Middle Belt as part of the North, even to this moment. And the awakening of the consciousness of the Middle Belters, and even the officers who are trying to speak up now, just like what we were just watching now, all of them from the beginning have exonerated Ojukwu, have exonerated the Igbo people, have come to realize that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was actually right on what is going on daily basis. As it stands now, in every day, one Nigeria must die as a result of the same Fulani attack. Gowon was jumping up and down, as at that time, to defend. You never foresee it coming, that the time will come, these people will actually turn against him. And the Fulanis are telling him now, you cannot go anywhere, you cannot escape. Gowon will not escape from the North. That's what they're telling him now. And his people also will not escape from the North. They are either born by the Fulani rule or Sharia rule, or they don't have any option nowhere to go. Including the one himself, chilling the king. Nadu has struggled, and they told him, if you dare, they will expose the real thing that happened in Afri. That every other religion can go in Nigeria. That they prefer to work with the Awu Yorubas, they prefer to work with the Middle Belt, but as long as you are not a Biafran, you are free from Sharia law.
Now, I think I make up a statement that comes from some people that Ojukwu played on the intelligence of Gowon. Now, that is why Gowon was confused and now coming out to
sing a different song many years after the Aburi Accord. And you know, played on the intelligence. People never played. I think there were delegates from the federal government. You know, there were delegates from everywhere all over the world, and they were part of that agreement. You know, and the world relates in that agreement. And people never played an intelligence. Although people defended a position, you know, that the one actually, you know, agreed as at that time and was able to put his signature to it. You know, but whatever that have led Gowon after the Apoli coming back to Nigeria here, he decided that, you know, that the issue of Apoli Accord can no longer stand.
It takes 90.
You heard him very well. Yes, very, very clear. And everything is very, very, open-dential to everyone now who cares to listen or who cares to understand what really happened in the past. Let me take a few comments and then we'll go. Somebody said it can be seen from the way he's talking that he is not really serious about what he said. Okay, he's not serious about calling for restoration of the Middle Beltans or restoration of Biafra. I don't know what you mean. What he said, it is pathetic. Okay, that is what he said. My people are begging, we'll take a break and I'll hear my voice again when I come back. Oh yeah, catch you next.